But let's go and talk about Backlash, shall we? Because there's a lot of mixed reviews on this Backlash. We're going to go ahead and start off with the fatal four-way of Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight versus Damian Priest. Now, overall, I thought this was just a pretty decent match. I didn't think it was like too spectacular by any means. There was a few moments where it did definitely get big. I will say this. I feel like Drew and Damian felt so misplaced in this entire thing, in that it felt like there were only tiny moments where they really went at each other, which was the start, that one part in the middle, and then like towards, I guess, the end. But it was like, I felt like we needed a lot more from Drew and Damian not being so focused on the U.S. title and more so just being focused on each other, rather than seeing Drew and Damian try to go for multiple pins on Jacob Fatu. Obviously, yes, Drew has made it clear that he wants to go after the biggest, baddest guy in WWE, and he believes that that's Jacob Fatu. But Damian hasn't really, made it clear that he wants to go after the U.S. title. He just made it clear that he wants to go after Drew McIntyre, so I feel like he should have been a lot more focused on McIntyre, and McIntyre should have also probably been a lot more focused on him, because that's been Drew's character, is that when he gets oh so close because of his distractions, he gets distracted and he starts going after the ones that he probably shouldn't be going after instead of focusing on the gold, and I feel like that should have been showcased a lot more. So I feel like they were a bit misplaced in this match in general. As far as LA Knight, oh my gosh, man. We did it for like the umpteenth time with LA Knight, where somebody interferes, costing LA Knight. Now, mind you, I get it this time because obviously, no, I don't get it. Well, I get it this time because of the Jeff Cobb debut. I'm so just back and forth with this because I do understand the Jeff Cobb debut and all that stuff. It made a lot of sense. But it feels like I don't even know how many matches now, it's always been somebody interferes, costing LA Knight. Somebody interferes, costing LA Knight. Somebody interferes, costing LA Knight. And it's just like, why does this have to keep being the case with him? I understand that we're trying to protect him, but protect him for what? When are we pushing LA Knight to the world title scene? We're not doing it this year. There's no way that he's taking the world title off of Jey Uso or John Cena, and especially if Seth Rollins get that belt, LA Knight's definitely not taking it off of Seth Rollins. So it's like, I don't understand the overprotecting of LA Knight right now, especially in this way where it's a repetitive overprotecting. I feel like there's ways that we could have done this that could be better, like maybe wrestlers cheating against him instead of always just, interfering in his matches. That would be better in my opinion. I've said this for a while now about WWE as well, that the interferences are just becoming way too much. There was literally 3 different interferences. No, wait, actually 1, 2, yeah, 3. No, well, technically 4. There was 4 interferences in a 5-match card that really just kind of messed up a lot of the matches, in my opinion. Well, no, actually, it's 3. Yeah. Well, Cena Orton technically had an interference as well. But it's 4. But it's just like the interferences just become so much, and especially for LA Knight, it's just it's honestly hurting him a lot more than it is helping him, because we know he's not gonna get any big titles this year, and with both of his U.S. title runs, you didn't do much with. So it's like, we know that if you give him the world title, it's probably not gonna be that great of a run either. So it's like the overprotection of him, just because he is a superstar, is hurting him a lot more than it's helping him. It kind of is different to Roman Reigns in a sense, because Roman Reigns, when he was protected during his WWE Undisputed Championship run, you protected him because of the fact that he needed to be protected. He kind of almost made that aware by struggling in matches at times where he would look like he's almost losing. LA Knight would be winning and someone would interfere every single dang time, and it just hurts him a lot more than it helps him. It helped Roman a lot more than it hurt Roman, even though there are people that go out there and say, oh, well, he shouldn't have, oh, well, this shouldn't have happened, that shouldn't have happened. He's a heel, it's supposed to happen. Duh. And then as far as the Jeff Cobb debut, it felt odd. It felt like, it just felt like whatever. I don't even know if they called him by his name. I think they didn't call him by his name because they're probably still searching for a name for him. But it just felt like a bit rushed, in my opinion, I guess. I don't like how he looked standing next to Solo. It didn't really feel that great. I'm going to be real with you, man. It really, really didn't. But I will say this. It does help the Jacob Fatu feud that's going to happen with Solo Sikoa in the future, because now, you created this tension between Solo and Jacob. Well, you already kind of had it, but you created it even further. I just think that it's like a Band-Aid on a wound, though. It helps, but it's still painful nonetheless. Like, if you cut yourself and you put a Band-Aid over it, you're still going to feel the cut every time you touch it. And I feel like with Solo Sikoa, he has a Band-Aid on him right now. He is the wound. And it's just like there's nothing there. Solo is not hyped anymore. Nobody really wants to see Solo Sikoa. I love seeing Solo Sikoa. I think he's absolutely funny. I think he's amazing on the mic, and he really is a pretty dang good character worker as well. It's just that we built Solo up to be basically like Pete Dunne. It's just he was in the Bloodline. That's the only reason why Solo looks a lot better than Pete Dunne. Had Pete Dunne been in the Bloodline, he looked just like Solo right now, where Solo Sikoa was losing every single dang match. He lost, I think, he lost every singles match that he had, and the only time that he ever really got wins was when things went wrong in a match, like, Roman and all them kind of imploding, and then you had, Roman and them imploding, and then Sami Zayn coming out and, causing issues and stuff like that. Then you had this stuff with, what was it? The Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga interferences. No, the Jacob Fatu and Tonga Loa debuts that helped them get other wins. So it's like, you didn't really build up Solo Sikoa that well at all. You didn't build him up as any kind of like, master strategist or like an architect like Seth Rollins or just any kind of thing. You just basically made him Roman Reigns 2.0, and it didn't really help because nobody really got behind Solo. Roman had the look to him of like a final boss. Solo Sikoa looked like less than an underboss, in my opinion. He looked more like a grunt, and had you built him up better when he was with the Bloodline, like the original Bloodline, it would have been a bit better. You didn't need to make him like this, superstar by any means, but you could have made the guy have a few more wins than losses. He didn't need 33 dang losses and one win. And then the whole like losing has consequences thing. He literally lost multiple times and there was no consequences at all. I feel like he should have got kicked out of the Bloodline at some point in time, especially after War Games. He should have been. I don't really get that. After the Tribal Combat match, should have been kicked out to that. Or he should have won the Tribal Combat match. There's also that as well. So, yeah, no, I don't think it really helps the Solo Jacob feud that much because Solo losing to Roman didn't help Roman. I don't think it's going to help Jacob either, other than just getting him away from the Bloodline. So, overall, I feel like this match was just decent. I feel like this Jacob, Drew, Knight, Damian match was just about a 3.5 or a 3 out of 5. It wasn't like anything special by any means. Then next up, we had easily the best match of the night that I would give a 4.5 out of 5 to. It was Lyra Valkyria. This match was absolutely awesome. If you love some technical wrestling, which is funny because I don't really actually love it that much, but it kind of, I'm not going to lie to you, some of the women are getting me really into technical wrestling, so shout out to the women, but this match just felt absolutely amazing, man, from start to finish. I don't think we needed the Hogan moments from Lyra Valkyria where she kicked out of 3 different manhandle slams. We definitely did not need that in the slightest. I don't even know why that was, on the table and then why it got off the table and brought into the ring. I do not know how the hell that happened, but we had her kick out of multiple of those, but the submission that she was putting on was just like, she was a submission specialist in this match. She was looking like Shayna Baszler, Natty Neidhart. It was just absolutely beautiful. We got to see Becky Lynch bring the disarmer back, going into it multiple different times, and then Lyra using the disarmer as well. And then we just, oh my gosh, it was just so beautiful, man. Lyra was going just so crazy in this match. My only worry, and I just made a TikTok on this earlier, is what does this do for Lyra? Because I feel like with Lyra winning, it still did not make her into a star. It did not at all. She got the win with a roll-up instead of a submission. I would have loved to see maybe like Becky Lynch just kind of pass out. But obviously you had the post-match attack. I would have loved to see Nightwing maybe hit on her instead. We know that Becky is likely going to be getting the win soon. I just don't know what this did for Lyra, though. I feel like this did the exact same thing what Becky did before for Lyra, which was a quick moment of like a little like 5 seconds of fame, and then I feel like it did for Lyra what it did before, which is a cool little 15 seconds of fame where, her last feud with Becky Lynch back in NXT was really hot. And then between that feud and the Roxanne feud, Lyra kind of just cooled down, and then the Roxanne feud got her hot again. But then between the Roxanne feud and the current Becky Lynch feud, Lyra cooled the hell down to the point where she was frozen solid, like as if she was in Antarctica. So it's like, I hope that this does actually do something for Lyra, but I don't know if it is because I feel like the pop just wasn't that loud when she got the win. I feel like the online community just isn't talking about Lyra Valkyria and this big win. And it's just like I got everybody telling me that Becky should have won. Literally everybody said that Becky looked better in the match, and I'm like, no, Lyra Valkyria was literally the MVP of Backlash. I feel like she carried this thing on her back with this match, in my opinion. But I will say Lyra and Becky also definitely had by far the best match of the night. This match cleared every other match. This just though, obviously it's leading to Becky Lynch versus Lyra Part 2, possibly a Saturday night's main event, possibly just on like a random Monday Night Raw. Maybe even within like 2 weeks I could see that happening. I feel like this match is supposed to do a lot more, and I feel like a Nightwing finish would have done a lot more than the roll-up. It feels very first time her and Becky faced. This is also just like a big issue with WWE right now, though, in general, where it's like, for the longest time, every single time a NXT call-up would happen, they would go up to the main roster and they would restart their entire story unless they were extremely marketable. People like right now we have Carmelo Hayes and Lyra Valkyria who had to restart their entire stories because of the fact that they're not marketable compared to Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton. But the issue is this shouldn't be the case because Triple H was the victim of so many NXT call-ups getting screwed over coming to the main roster. That's why he wanted Aleister Black back. That's why I bet he wants Buddy Matthews back. That's why he probably wants Swerve Strickland and Tony Storm back. Because like it was Vince McMahon that ruined a lot of them by not really, doing much to get the main roster fans into NXT. Well, Triple H has kind of done the same thing over the past few years where a lot of these NXT stars who are stars in NXT, they should be getting onto the main roster earlier, not to be mainstays, but to at least have matches, to at least show their presence. And the only time that Roxanne really did and that Obafemi really did, at least for Roxanne, was when she was close to getting called up, and it was around like the early parts of the Bayley feud. And then there was like one moment with Oba where he was in the crowd. But for the most part, we haven't seen any of them ever even have matches, have promos, have backstage promos, anything like that. And I feel like that should have been a thing that Triple H addressed as soon as he took over, was having more NXT stars be shown off on the main roster early on, but still having them be primarily in NXT. Show them off every once in a while. It's NXT Tuesdays, Monday Night Raw, and Friday Night SmackDown. You're telling me that someone can't go to SmackDown? You tell me that not any one of them could go on over to SmackDown. I don't really get why he doesn't do that. I feel like it's just hurting. It's going to continue to hurt NXT, and it's not hurting NXT in the sense. It's hurting the NXT call-ups where it's like now you have all these ready to be made. Now you have all these ready to be made stars that you're not going to use on the roster, and then a lot of them are going to just slip and fall further and further down the card and become more and more of an afterthought to the point that it's just like they either leave or they just become jobbers. Like Carmelo Hayes, that should not be the case with him. He should have been a U.S. champion right now. He should be doing a lot more over this past year, but because he had to restart his story because he's not that marketable, it just really hurt a lot of his momentum. Same thing with Lyra Valkyria as well. She should have already been a ready-made star, but because of the fact that you really couldn't because she wasn't marketable, it hurt her so much. And for about 8 to 9 months, she was basically an afterthought that nobody wanted to see on TV. Now, as far as Dom and Penta, though, yes, we are on the Backlash review. I know I got a little off topic. It's the ADHD, the autism, and all that stuff. I like to ramble a bit. Me and Will Ospreay are very, very similar in that regard. But Dom versus Penta was pretty decent as well. I feel like we should have seen a more Lucha Libre style, old style versus new style between Dom and Penta, seeing as Dom is a bit on the younger side. He has a lot more of the newer style of Lucha Libre. Obviously, Penta's like in his 40s. He has a lot more of the older style. Would love to see old versus new kind of clash here because you were going to put Dominic Mysterio over. You weren't going to put Penta over by any means. And I think this would have been a great way to make Dominic Mysterio even much more of a bigger star. But all in all, though, this match did definitely have some really good spots. I love that one suicide dive going into the DDT. I don't think y'all understand exactly how impressive that is by Dominic Mysterio to do. The fact that this man was moving forward and then slowed his momentum down enough mid-air to be able to turn his body and hit a DDT, a protected as hell DDT, because it did not hurt Penta. Well, he didn't botch it. Let's just say that. It might have hurt Penta a little bit, but he didn't botch it. I don't think y'all understand exactly how impressive that is. Anybody that says Dominic Mysterio can't wrestle, just go look at that right there. That shows you everything that you need to know about Dominic Mysterio and his ability to wrestle. But you might be thinking like, okay, why is this match that bad? Is it just because like the style wasn't that great? They didn't really show off a lot? No, it's because the interferences once again, 30,000 interferences. We had Carlito come in, then we had JD McDonough come in, then we had Finn Balor come in, and Finn Balor didn't even execute the chair shot right. And obviously we're setting up to Finn and Dominic Mysterio and yada, yada, yada. I don't really care for it. I'm going to be honest with you. But then we had El Grande Americano come in. And it's just like we're continuing this storyline. I'm going to be real with you, man. This storyline can go. It can go, baby. Don't nobody care about this El Grande Americano versus all the luchador style or a story anymore. Because what does it lead to? Does it lead to Penta going over El Grande? Really? I think Penta's already over. We don't need Penta to be over. You're not going to do Dragon Lee. I can tell you that right now. You're not going to be pushing Dragon Lee to go over him. And Rey Mysterio's a legend. What does he need to go over anymore? He's in the Randy Orton, John Cena, CM Punk style, a category where it's like he is already over and will forever be over. I don't know what we're doing. Is this all for El Hijo de Vikingo? Is this all for him to come to WWE and take out El Grande Americano and go over? Is that the case? I mean, okay, you know what? I'll give you that one if that is the case then, but I just feel like that's not. It's going to be Penta. It's going to be a big feud for Penta. Well, not even a big feud. It's going to be a feud for Penta. And it's just like, at this point, man, just move Penta on over to SmackDown or move Rey on over to Raw and get the Lucha Bros already, man, because we just doing whatever with Penta at this point, man. We got this man having a Backlash match against the same guy that he just faced in the main event of Monday Night Raw the exact same week. Or wait, no, was that like the week before? That might be like the week before. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember exactly when it was. But like, come on, man. What are we doing here? What are we doing here, man? This is just, no. This El Grande stuff, I'm sorry. It's just gotten old quickly. There's just not much depth to it. If we heard a little more from El Grande, like on the mic, maybe it'd be cool. Obviously, we know who it is, but you could put somebody else under the mask as well to really kind of throw us off a bit. Especially with the talking, that would definitely throw us off. Be like, wait, hold on, that doesn't even sound like him at all. But then the next week, you have it be sound like him, and it's like, wait, hold on, who the hell actually is El Grande? But obviously, I guess you don't want to do the mic stuff because it's like, it kind of gives it up a little too much, but you can do something, man. You can do something because this is just a whole lot of malarkey at this point. I ain't said that word in years. Oh my gosh, but oh man. Speaking of just a whole lot of bullshittery, Gunther versus Pat McAfee was the worst match that I have ever seen. It is worse than William Regal versus Goldberg. It is worse than AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Let me tell you why. Gunther was built up as an absolute animal coming into NXT, just destroyed the entire IC division, ran through every single one of them. This man was also kind of being built up as an animal while he was a World Heavyweight Champion by taking down the likes of Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Jey Uso about 30,000 times. This guy was also built up as an animal by literally trying to unalive Jimmy Uso and drinking the man's blood. And then we had this man play with his food against Pat McAfee. Almost lose to Pat McAfee on multiple different occasions. Have multiple different Michael Cole interferences. Just for Gunther to get the win and to shake his hand afterwards. What the hell was that? That did zero for Gunther. If Pat McAfee's whole thing, which, it was said by Byron Saxton, was just to go out there and show that he wasn't afraid of Gunther, literally just Pat McAfee being in the ring with Gunther would have done just that. Him, kicking out of multiple finishers, not finishers, well, he kicked out of a clothesline, kicked out of one of the power bombs. He was in a chokehold for hella long, longer than Gunther was in a chokehold against Jey Uso, longer than Gunther was in a chokehold against Ilya Dragunov. Like, this guy immediately tapped out to both of these guys, but Pat McAfee doesn't immediately tap out to Gunther. Come on, man. What are we doing? We just make Gunther look so weak. Like, I just don't get the direction that we're going with Gunther. I feel like this did zero for the man at all. I don't even know where Gunther goes from here. If the plan is to make Gunther a babyface, then I guess great. That's the plan. But it's like, I don't like this for Gunther by any means, because I just think that Gunther could be like a really dominant force within WWE, be one of those dominant big guys that they don't really have a lot of, but that's also very super technical. You don't get a lot of guys Gunther's size to be technical wrestlers. They're usually just powerhouses. And in WWE, especially as of recently, they kind of just turn him into a chop merchant. That's all he's really been, is just chop, 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 big drop kick, and then a little power slam, and then I'm going to hug you to sleep. And that's really all Gunther's become. And it's like, it's definitely highlighting WWE's entertainment side over their wrestling side. And I understand that you want to do that because you know it's entertainment over wrestling. But I feel like there's a much better way to do this and not do it for every single wrestler. I feel like Gunther should never be put in this prediction. He should be very similar to a Chad Gable. He should be very similar to a Pete Dunne, where they still get to show off a lot of their bags. Heck, even Natty gets to show off a lot of her bag. Becky gets to show off some of hers. Seth gets to show off some of his. I feel like he should be in that same realm where he's being protected constantly and allowed to do a lot of what he can do, working the body, multiple different submissions and stuff like that. He really should be allowed to do that. And the respect thing afterwards, it just feels dumb in my opinion. You were playing with your food the entire time. Why are you respecting him afterwards? That doesn't make any sense at all. So the people that are saying he's playing with his food, he can't be playing with his food. It just doesn't make any sense. No, this match is as simple as we made Gunther look like he was struggling against Pat McAfee. That's all it is, and that's all it will be. And McAfee no-selling like most of Gunther's moves was just also really stupid as well. This is why I did not want this match by any means. I thought it was going to be a squash match. I thought Goldberg was going to show up. Now I kind of wish that Goldberg did show up because, my goodness, this was just, No, this is a 1 out of 5 for me. I'm going to be real. This was actually a 0.5 out of 5 for me. This was awful. This was awful. If you loved it, though, because you're entertained by it, you're allowed to because you're a WWE fan. That's your number one. For me, I'm just a fan of wrestling. So for me, it just wasn't entertaining. We're all gonna have our differences though. Next up though, we had Cena versus Orton, and this was just a decent match. Just a decent match in my opinion. The amount of ref bumps we had in this match was just whatever. We had some cool little moments here and there, like the AA into an RKO by Orton. I feel like we didn't call back to anything between these two guys, though. I would have loved to have seen more of that. I would have loved to have seen maybe, I don't know, someone from Randy's family in the crowd. It would have been cool to see maybe Randy's like wife in the crowd, and then have John Cena going at her. Obviously, don't AA her, please, Cena. Don't do that. But going at her, doing just something to be a little hey, remember when Randy went at Cena's dad? Yeah, well now Cena's going at Randy's wife. That would have been pretty cool. I don't know, man. Maybe you try to call back to the punt kick and all that stuff, and it's just you're still not doing the punt kick, and oh man, yeah, no, the ref bumps, and then that whole sequence where Randy Orton just RKO'd all the security, including Nick Aldis, it's whatever, it's cool. I think it's become a running, just stick at this point where it's Randy Orton is gonna RKO literally everybody, and it's just it was just a decent match. I think a 2.5 out of 5, 2 out of 5. I didn't think it was horrible. I mean, you could even say a 3 out of 5, but I probably would lean more towards a 2.5 out of 5, but 2.5, 3, basically the same number, especially if you round it up. Then I thought the ending was really odd because you had Cena calling out for competition. Now, everyone said this was a setup, John Cena versus CM Punk. The problem is, CM Punk literally already did that. He literally already did that before by calling out John Cena. I know y'all like that. By calling out John Cena. So it's why did we need to do this again so that CM Punk could just put "for now" on his Instagram story? I felt like it didn't really do much. I think we all knew that it was coming. I think if you thought that we weren't getting John Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank, I'm gonna be real with you. Unless John Cena is truly ruining wrestling, so we get that match at Saturday Night's Main Event instead, I'm gonna be real. It's happening, okay? We all knew it was going to be happening at Money in the Bank. I think anybody could have guessed this. With John Cena's retirement tour literally announced, we all said John Cena versus CM Punk at Money in the Bank for one of the championships. So, yeah, I do like the little ending moment, though, after that when it went off screen. I guess for some people it went to an ad. For me, it just stayed there. The crowd was saying, "Thank you, Cena." John Cena was getting a bit emotional. I don't know if it's because of a face turn. It's very possible that he was regretting some of his actions. I think also another part that really played into it was this was John Cena and Randy Orton's final match, and this is his biggest rival. It's probably the guy's going to induct him into the Hall of Fame. They're probably super duper besties and all that stuff. They're probably going, brunch dates and all that. this was his last match against Randy Orton in Randy Orton's hometown. Or I guess, well, yeah, hometown. It's like, this was definitely going to be emotional for him, regardless of, whether it is like whether he was a face or a heel. He was definitely going to try to hide the emotion as well as possible, but he obviously was not able to hide them. He kind of tried to, but it didn't work. Cena, this is the one time that we definitely all saw you. But overall, though, Backlash was just pretty cool. I didn't think it was like, elite by any means. I thought it was just a decent pay-per-view. It looks like Saturday night's main event also did get moved back a day. It was supposed to be on the 25th, but I think they kind of realized that's Sunday. That wasn't the WWE website, by the way. That was not me trying to just create something between WWE and AEW. It was literally on the website that it was supposed to be the 25th. Maybe they just said the wrong thing. I don't know. I thought the 25th was a Saturday. I'm not even going to lie to you, but it's actually on the 24th, which is a Saturday, and then Sunday is the 25th. So I think maybe they still are setting up to like a really big Saturday night's main event, but I don't think it's going to be as big now because we're probably going to be getting John Cena versus R-Truth. We're going to be getting Logan Paul versus Jey Uso. Those two matches right there are just kind of whatever. I'm going to be real with you. So, yeah, no. Saturday night's main event, though, might have some pretty interesting matches there. We might get like a women's championship match, something like that. But for the most part, I think Backlash was just... It was cool. It was here. Two pretty just boring PLEs in a row. I hope that Saturday night's main event is a bit better. I hope that Money in the Bank is really awesome, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's definitely been an interesting year for WWE, to say the least. I don't really like much of the things that have happened this year. There's been really cool moments like Bianca and Naomi, Cody and CM Punk, Punk and KO. You had Liv and Raquel versus Bianca and Naomi. Awesome match. I love the whole Elimination Chamber stuff with Naomi and Jade. I didn't really care for Cena and Cody. I wish it would have happened at Mania, especially seeing how Cena's gone now with this whole heel turn. And there's been like a couple other few things here and there, but for the most part, I think it's just been like a D-rated year in my opinion. It just has not been good.